Okay, so to start out our pendant, we're going to need 10 4mm pearls or rounds. They don't have to be pearls. You can just use regular smooth rounds. And 10 of those separated by an 11-0. So, and then tie it into a knot. So 10 rounds, 10 11-0s in between. So this is what you're going to come out with. Now from here, I'm going to sew into my next pearl. And from here, we're going to keep using our seed beads. And I am going to use 2 colors only to make it easier for me on my next step. So we're going to pick up 7 11-0s, but I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 11-0s on my needle. One of them is a pink one and it's in the middle. And the reason why, and I'll just show you, is because at the end, well, not at the end, but in the back, this is the back of our pendant. And you see how this pink one will be this pink one. This pink one will be from, it's hard to see, the 11-0s that we're going to pick up right now around our pearl. So I'm coming out of my pearl. I have 7 11-0s. And then I'm just going to circle around, go through my pearl, my 11-0, and make it into the next 11-0. And pull. So that will put these 11-0s around our pearl. Now from here, I'm going to pick up 6 more because we're going to share this one 11-0 here. Okay, this one little 11-0. So 1, 2, 3 11-0s, a pink one, and then 2 more gold or 2 more champagne. And then I'm going to share this last 11-0 here. And I'm going to go in through my pearl, go in through our next 11-0 and our next pearl. So this is a pretty easy step. Once again, 3 champagne 11-0s, a pink one, 2 more champagne 11-0s, and then we're sharing this 11-0. So that'll be our 7th one. Pull, going through my pearl, my 11-0, and then my next pearl. So go ahead and do this until you have all of your pearls, until you have 11-0s on the outside of all of your pearls like that. And then I will meet you back.
Want a monthly dose of inspiration while stocking up on your beading supplies? Potomac Beads Treasure Box is a monthly subscription where you can save up to 60% off new and exciting materials. Every month, you'll receive an assortment of unique and exclusive beads in a variety of colors and shapes. Whether you're a beginner or an accomplished beader, the Treasure Box will inspire you to create unique projects for yourself and to gift to others. Unleash your creativity with a Treasure Box subscription. Visit PotomacBeads.com/subscriptions today or click on the link below in the description to get links to get back to our website.
Okay, so this is my last one. And we are going to only add 5 seed beads this time because we're going to share this seed bead here. So that means that's 1 and then 2, 3. My pink one. And then 1, 2 more gold. And then we're going to share this one here. And then in through my pearl. And I'm gonna also go in through the 11-0 next to it and come out the pearl, this next pearl, just to lock everything in place. And then coming out of the pearl, I'm going to sew up this one until I get to my pink bead. So that will be my center bead from the 7 seed beads around that pearl. So that's why I use a different color, because it would make it easier for me to just pick up the middle bead on this next step. So on this next step, we're going to be picking up an 11-0, an 8-0, and an 11-0, and we're going to be connecting our middle 11-0 from that grouping of 7, which again in my case will be the pink bead. So I'm coming out of the middle of the 7, and it's going to be 11-0, 8-0, 11-0, and then I'm going to go in through my next middle bead. Okay, so this is another easy, really easy step. Doing that again, coming out of my pink bead or my middle bead. 11-0, 8-0, 11-0. And again, going through my middle bead. So keep doing this all the way around, and I will show you what to do after that. Okay, I have one more left, one more grouping left, and I've already added my little Rivoli there. And it's not gonna stay, it can fall out, but I put it in anyway. 11-0, 8-0, 11-0, and then through my last middle bead. And then I want to be coming out of my 8-0. Once I go in through that middle bead, the pink one, I'm gonna go ahead and sew through the first 11-0 and then that 8-0 and come out of the 8-0. So now we're going to put a bead in between all of our 8-0s to connect those together. And then that will tighten everything and our Rivoli won't be able to fall out. So I'm just going to add another 11-0 in between, another 11-0 to connect each of our 8-0s. I know with one of my pendants, I added 2 11-0s on this part, but I'm just gonna add 1 because they were kind of warping on me. And I know it's the back, you're not gonna see it, but still it kind of bothered me. So I'm just going to add 1 11-0 maybe to connect each of these 8-0s. Just gonna get my tail out of the way. And next one here. So I'm just going to do this all the way around. And then once I've done that, I'm going to reinforce it one time. I'm just going to reinforce it one time after I've added my 11-0s. So that will put 2 strings in through this step. Okay, so go ahead and add your 11-0s and then reinforce it once, and then I will meet you back. Okay, so I've already tightened it here. I went through it one time, and now we're going to sew up. After you finish tightening this area, go through an 11-0, catch the 11-0 after it, and then go sew to the, in my case, it would be my pink bead, which would also be the middle bead of the 7 from our previous step, or one of our beginning steps. So again, that's why this helps me to use a different color on that step, because it's just really easy to know which bead to go through. So once I go through that middle bead, I'm going to go to the one right after it, which is this one here. It's the one right after my middle bead. So you should be coming out of an area that's in between your pearls, okay? So now we're going to add our GemDuos. And you're gonna pick up a 15-0 and, a 15-0, a GemDuo, and I have them backwards because, well, you'll see why. And then a 15-0. So 15-0, GemDuo, 15-0. And I'm coming out of this 11-0 here. I'm gonna sew down this way into this 11-0 here, the one right before this pink one. So I got my beads on my string. I'm going to sew down this one. Can you see that? And then I'm gonna pull. And that will put our GemDuo in place. And then from here, I'm not even gonna go down the pink one. I'm just gonna go down this seed bead after my pink one, okay? And then I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna pick up a 15-0, a GemDuo, because I'm working from the back. So I'm gonna pick it up like this. And then another 15-0. And then coming out of this 11-0 here, I'm gonna go this way, down this 11-0 right before my pink one. And then I'm gonna skip my pink one and go up this little seed bead right after my pink one, okay? So this is how we add our GemDuos. Go ahead and add all 10 of your GemDuos, and then I will meet you back. Okay, so I added my last GemDuo, and before we go any further, if you have a tail sticking out through the front, and you might have one because we tied our knot in our first step, just stick the string in through one of these places here. Just stick it in through there to where it'll go to the back of your project, and then just burn it off. So I have a little tail right here from where I stuck it through here, through this little opening, and I just burned it off. Okay. We don't need to tie anything to it because we tied a knot with it already. All right. So after we added our last GemDuo, and you sew up to this bead, go ahead and go through your 15-0, because your grouping of 15-0, GemDuo, and 15-0 are going to be there. Those are going to be the very first ones you added. So go ahead and go through the 15-0 and the GemDuo. And let me see. And yeah, the 15-0 and your GemDuo, and your 15-0 after that, because we're going to add our 11-0s, our 8-0s in between these little, in between our little groupings. So it's not hard, it can be done, but I'm trying to go through a little 15-0 and I'm kind of nearsighted, so, all right, here we go. Coming out of that 15-0, sorry about that, I'm gonna pick up an 8-0, and then I'm gonna go through the 15-0, GemDuo, and 15-0 on my next, right next to it. So that's what we're gonna do. So this is our next step, adding a little 8-0 in between our groupings. So, but we do need to go through the 15-0, GemDuo, 15-0. All right. So I'm coming out of this 15-0. I'm going to pick up another 8-0, and I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go through my 15-0. You can probably get the first 15-0 and your GemDuo in one stick, and then after that you kind of like have to reposition your needle to go through the 15-0 after that. But it's not hard, it can be done. It's just harder on camera, but it can be done. All right, so I've already added 2. I'm going to add the rest of them, and then I will meet you back to tell you what to do next, to show you what to do next. Okay, so I finished adding all of my 8-0s, and I'm coming out of a GemDuo. So now I'm going to hop on to the top hole of my GemDuo. And from here on out, we're going to just work with our 15-0 seed beads. So coming out of my GemDuo here, I'm going to pick up 4 15-0s. And then I'm going to go through my 8-0 seed bead. And then I'm going to pick up 4 more and go through my next GemDuo. So easy step. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going through this GemDuo. Okay. And now I'm going to pick up 4 more and I'm going to go through that 8-0 here. 2, 3, 4. And you probably have to go in like through an angle. Well, I like doing that because I don't like to scratch my GemDuos. Okay, so I have 4 and I'm going to pick up 4 more. And I'm going to go through the top hole of this GemDuo. Okay, as you're doing this part, you may notice that your piece is getting a little bit funky looking. We're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix that in our last and final step. But go ahead and add your, unless you want to stop, unless you like how your pendant looks as it is. It already looks pretty, but I do like adding these 15-0s. So go ahead and add them, and then I will show you what to do after that in our last and final step. Okay, I already added my 15-0s, and well, they actually don't look too bad, but I am going to do one more step just to make them look just a little bit more polished, because sometimes depending on your 15-0s, I know with some other ones that I did, by the time I added all of them, my piece was kind of wavy looking. So if yours happens to look that way, this next step will take away any of that little waviness. So now my piece right now doesn't really have it, but I'm still going to do this part. So I'm coming out of my GemDuo. I'm going to go down my 15-0s. And then this time I'm going to skip the 8-0 there at the 8-0 that we went through on our previous step. I'm just going to connect these 15-0s to these 15-0s. So I'm just going to go from grouping of 4 11-0s to my next grouping of 4 11-0s, and I'm just going to connect them. Sorry, I hope, there we go. So you see, it makes it look a little bit neater. So go through your GemDuo and then go down your 4 15-0s again. I'm trying to catch all of them at once, and I was having a hard time. So I got 3, and I just need 1 more here. Okay, so I'm going from this grouping, skipping my 8-0, and I'm just going to go up these next 4. And again, I'm trying to catch them all at the same time. All right, so I think that looks way better. I'm gonna go ahead and do this all the way around my piece, and then I will meet you back. Okay, so I finished connecting all of my groupings of 4 15-0s to each other. And I did tie off my thread because I was already running out. Sorry, I have a hair here in my, there. My goodness. Okay, so I added another piece of thread. And I'm going to do a bail. And I'm going to do it from one of these 8/0s. And that's mainly because I don't really want my, well, I don't want my bail to show. I want my necklace to just be hanging on both sides and just have my pretty pendant there. So I got another piece of thread and I have a stop bead that I'm also going to use as part of this little loop that I'm going to make. So, and I went through one of those 8/0s, my stop beads right there. So now I'm going to pick up another pink bead. And I'm going to pick up 14 15/0s. And I am not counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then another 11/0. And you don't, this part, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do your bail like this. You can do it however you want. Okay, so I'm coming out of that 8/0. I added, here's my first 15/0, my 14 15/0s, and another 11/0. And then I'm going to loop around this 8/0 again. And I'm going to add another 11/0. And I'm going to go through my 15/0s again, but this time from here. And then after I come out through my last 15/0, I'm going to attach to that very first 11/0 that I added, that I used as a stop bead. So it's just a very simple and interesting loop. But again, it's only so that I can have something like this in the back of my pendant where I can add a chain or a leather cord or, you know, like that. And I made it big enough to where I don't have to worry about removing jump rings or anything like that if I want to add it to a gold chain or anything like that. Or in case I have like leather cording that already has the jump ring and all that, that's already like ready for like a pendant, but sometimes it already has a jump ring attached. I won't have to remove it because this loop is big enough. So I'm just going through all my 15/0s. And I'm going to go through this very last, the very first 8/0 that was part of this project. So here's my loop. Let me turn this to the side so you can see. That's all I did. Nothing fancy. So, and I'm just going to tie my string together. Okay, so that's how it's gonna look. All right, I'll meet you back. Okay, so here's all I did for my bail. Here's my bail, I already finished. And see how I have the 11/0s here on each side, and then my 15/0s, and then my 11/0s here. So I started, this was my thread with my, this was my first, my thread went through this one, through this first one, and then I went through my 8/0, and then I picked up this 11/0, and then this 15/0s, and then this 11/0, and then I went through my 8/0 again, picked up another 11/0, and then I went down these 15/0s, and then I went back down this beginning 11/0, went through my 8/0 again, up this 11/0, and then I just tied a knot. So that's all I did. But like I said, you do not have to do your bail like that. See how my bail doesn't show? And that's what I wanted, because I just want for my chain to come out, for my necklace to sit like this on my neck, and I don't want to see, I didn't want to add a bail. But you can definitely do a little bell right off the top of one of your GemDuos, or here in between you can add like a little crystal or another pearl here and do add some seed beads and make a loop. You can just add a wire guard. You can do whatever you want, so you don't have to do it the way I did. So this is what I have, and you should have something similar. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you very much for watching.